This is the HA lab for the FortiGate certification, and we're going to set up HA between these two firewalls, HQ NGFW1 and 2. Heartbeat's going to be port 7. Uplinks to the internet is port 2, and then the links to the local LAN is port 4. So let's first get into the console of NGFW1 and do that configuration. I'm going to move the instructions to the right. Okay, admin forms 1. Okay, so show system HA not configured. Actually, it is, but it's not totally configured. Config system HA, set mode AP active passive, and set priority. It's going to have the higher priority of 200. The other firewall will have a lower priority of 100. Set group ID. This has to match on both primary and secondary. We'll do 5. Set group name. Training. Set password. Fortinet with a capital F. Set session pickup. Enable. This will allow the session synchronization of connection-oriented TCP protocol. And set monitor interface. So far, that's what we have. Start over here. Show set monitor interface is not configured. Set heartbeat interface. Wait a minute. I think it's HB dev. Heartbeat device. All right, so we'll do port 7 and the number not specified in the instructions. Oh, you have to do a number. Let's do 50. Show. Okay. And now you do the same on NGFW-2. Let's get that going. Console. Over here. Admin. Fortinet 1. Show system HA. Config sys HA. Set mode. Active passive. Set group ID. 5. Set name. Is it? No. Set group name. Train. Set password. Set HB device. Port 7. We'll do 0. Maybe I the same on this guy. 7. 0. Now that'll match. Oh. Set override disabled? Yeah, it's disabled. Yeah. Set override disabled. Set priority 100. Anything else? All right, we'll start seeing debug messages about the synchronization process on the secondary. Let's do get sys HA stat. 423 is already elected as primary. 423 is -1. HB device stats are up. Port 7 is up. The checksum isn't matching. It's out of sync on 501. So diag sys HA checksum show. So as it's going to do it's going to do about 5 attempts to synchronize between primary and secondary. And basically, as it's doing that, after the 5th attempt, it should do a full synchronization of the entire configuration. So it's not doing an incremental, because this is the first time we're setting up HA. All right. Any messages on primary? No. It's just so diag sys HA show checksum, right? No, checksum show. And how we would match this is we'd have to go back and forth. So get sys HA status is probably the best command to see the checksums. And you'll see that's out of sync. So 67 corresponds with the other device. I'm looking at 423 now, and that checksum would be 76. 76 is the all line, right? 67 is the all line, so this needs to match up. Let's look at what the GUI looks like, right? I can do this without all these screens, man. Trying to get the right screen. Yeah, got it. All right. Let's go to ngfw-1, https, admin, fortinet 1. Remind me later. System HA. Still not synchronized. Has 61 sessions. And while we're waiting, why was ngfw 1 elected as the primary? So with no override set, what is the decision process for selecting the primary? First, it checks monitored interfaces. And as we can see, there are no monitored interfaces configured. Right? The next criteria would be checking the uptime. Okay, and you would find the uptime what's the command to check the uptime? I think it's diag sys HA status, right? Sync status, session sync dev, reset uptime. That'll actually change this uptime from whatever it is now to 0, and that would cause a failover. So HA sync stats? Interesting. All. Out. So stats. Interesting. Let's see if this is done. So it logged me out on 2, 14 minutes. 1. And you'll see before it was saying out of sync, and 423 is selected as primary because it override priority is larger. So it tells you right there. It didn't decide it based on uptime. And I was hoping to find a command where it shows the total uptime, right? Let's see if I can find that command. Let's see. Cluster members. What's the FortiOS HA command to view uptime of the cluster member? Get SysH status. That's one. A diag command. Unless I'm missing it. Okay. Yeah, 6 minutes 54 seconds. That's cluster uptime. That's not HA uptime. Yeah, this one, diag SysH status. So priority, you'll see 501 has a higher priority. It doesn't say that priority configured 200, but 501 is the number 2 of the cluster. So maybe a 0 is higher priority. Primary is 0. Okay, user priority. Yep, 200 and 100. Session pickup is enabled. Where would I see? Uptime, baby. Oh, .2. All right. Well, HA is configured, which is great. That was the whole point of this. All right. If I click HA, you'll see it's synchronized. You do see at least one session there. That's good. Let's finish up this lab. So we know why -1 is selected as primary because not of monitored interfaces, but because, and not because of uptime, right? Because uptime, if it's less than 300 seconds, that is not where it chooses. If it's more than 300 seconds or 5 minutes, and the difference between the primary and secondary is more than 300 seconds, then it will choose the one with the longest uptime. But that's not the case for these cluster members. Maybe you could view that, the total uptime, but I don't see that here. System uptime. Maybe that corresponds to it. And so it's going to choose priority. And NGFW-1 is the primary based on priority with the higher number 200. Okay. Yeah, gets this HA status will tell you the reason. Override priority is larger than 501. At one point, it was the only member in the cluster. Matching checksums, great. All right, take the quiz. Okay. What does the heartbeat interface require in high availability? Must be a physical port and must have bandwidth greater than 100 meg. I would say it must be a physical port. Correct. Let's grade this. Okay, successfully completed lab 14, exercise 1, configuring HA, click continue. And now for exercise 2, we're triggering a HA failover and observe the renegotiation among devices to elect a new primary device. So we got a PC1 VM where we can generate traffic, maybe see the sessions. Okay, let's go there. Display. And we're going to do a long video and run a continuous ping. And we're going to reboot -1. Okay. Let's do it. Okay, I'm just going to run a constant ping to 4.2.2.2 from the Ubuntu test PC. Let's get some music. And we're going to trigger a failover, right? But I don't want to do it just by rebooting. Primary is NGFW-1 423. It's a status. And let's look for the 423. Okay, and this is the primary, right? But I want to do it by monitored interface. So it's fixes HA, and the upstream interfaces, let's see, IP address list, I believe is port 2. Let's make sure of that. How do I get the topology again? All right, the topology. Port 2, that's correct. Okay, so I'm going to monitor port 2. Set monitor, right? And then port 2. That's how you monitor an interface. And that should carry over, right? Let's see. Shows this HA. Set monitor. No, it didn't carry over. Fix this HA, set monitor, 2, show, and show. Sys HA. All right. We are monitoring port 2, right? And if you look at the GUI, where's the GUI? I got this going. Where is the GUI? Go back. Under system HA. Port 2, you can see there's an icon because it's HA monitor interface. You'll see HA role. So we're going to physically shut it down. On the primary, so not on -2. Network interfaces, port 2, set status down. Let's see what happens. Think. All right. Mon dev stats says down, but for both devices, huh? Let's see. Okay. Override priority is larger. So who's the primary? MonDev is down on both. You can't just do it on one. Can you? Maybe because I did on the GUI. That was my mistake. So I'll enable that because that would disable on both. Do this on the console. Complete suspend. Edit 1, 2, 7, edit. That. That. Now. Says it's up. Just set it down. It goes down on both. Okay, never mind. Shows this HA. So it's still picking which device is the priority. 423, which is -1. I'm just going to do the reboot. Right? That's what it says to do in here, in the instructions anyway. All right, execute reboot. Right? Execute shutdown. You could do a comment. Execute shutdown. Yes. All right. This should show some kind of failover. It's this HA stat. set as secondary flag is set on peer member. 501 quickly becomes the primary. And if I go on the GUI, oops. Right, let's check the, so the pings are destination net unreachable. The video is still going. The pings are dropping. All right, maybe I could restart the ping. No. And if I go here, so the GUI is taking me to the O2 device, system HA, primary. It doesn't even see the -1. Let's do log and report, system events, HA events. Let's look at all of them. HA device interface fail. That's my port monitoring. State is moved. Standby for -2. Our big packet lost on port 7. So that triggered the failover and says the virtual cluster member dead, which means -1 is dead. And it might be still booting up. Let's see. Oh, you have to click connect. Still not up. Oh, I did an execute shutdown. Oops. Oh, snap. Okay, I messed up on a couple things. My HA configuration was monitoring port 2, right? By turning down port 2, I'm basically disconnecting us to the internet. So my pings were dropping after the failover, or actually probably before the failover testing. So probably not a good idea to set status down to any of these ports because I need it for the testing. Right now, this is -2 is still the primary because the uptime is larger than peer member. Okay, so override is not enabled, even though -1 has the higher priority of 200, which is somewhere in here. Process HA, you'll see that -2 has a lower priority, but it has the higher priority. Has been chosen as the primary because the uptime is larger. Maybe under system HA, you'll see the system uptime. So this is more than 5 minutes. This is the reason why -2 has been chosen as the primary. What else can we test? Okay, let's run some debug commands on the console. And we're going to reset the uptime on -2 to trigger a failover, right? But before we do that, let's enable the debug. Enable debug application HA talk 0. And then you have 255. I'm just following the, oh, talk 0 stops the debug. Okay, so it has that ready. 255 will show the debug messages. Okay, good. So again, -2, primary. What are we going to do? We're going to reset the uptime. And diaxis HA reset uptime. Do that automatically. What's happening here? So state change, standby to work as primary immediately. HA toggle vMember claim as primary. Update state change that work as primary. Here's some gratuitous art for the ports, so they get the virtual MAC address on the -1 FortiGate, right? Uptime reset count. Reset count 4. Uptime is 04501. Okay. Let's see, get this stat again. Primary because override parameter is larger than peer member 501. 501 should be -2, yes. Okay. And this device, we're logged out because of the failover. You can see actually 38 sessions and 15 sessions on the secondary. I'm just curious, what does that look like? Right? On the secondary diag session list. So protocol 17, so this is actually the IP addresses of the heartbeat interface, right? 169.254 addresses, some loopbacks. So let's, okay, this is UD, TCP123, right? Okay, what about diag sniffer packet port 7? Curious to see the heartbeat traffic. That is the heartbeat traffic. All right. So failover occurred after the diagsys HA reset uptime. We're going to test out active mode, set mode active. Let's do that. Sys HA, set mode A. Okay. And show sys HA, get sys HA. Okay. Get sys HA status. Oh, you have the heartbeat interval information here. Okay. Active, override priority. 423. Again, 423 is -1. Still the primary. You'll see this load balance information. Load balance disabled. Schedule round robin. Interesting. And let's try that. Set load balance all enable. Load balance. Okay. Round robin. Let's check out the load balance stuff. And it says fix that. Load balancing is enabled. Okay. Hardware NIC. Device info NIC. Port 2, right? So this is the virtual MAC address of port 2, right? Hardware device info NIC port 2. And you'll see that this is not a virtual MAC. It's just a regular burnt-in MAC address on the secondary device. Let's do a packet capture on port 2. Diagnostics, packet capture on port 2. see what the source MAC address is going to look like from port 2. And let's go with like traffic going to all 8s, right? All right, let's try that. So I'm gonna go ping all 8s. You see that, right? And I want to see what it looks like in Wireshark. So it's gonna get that's plenty of information. So 10650 stop, right? And then packet data. Cool, but can you use this in Wireshark? Save as PCAP. Traffic. Saw the source Fortinet virtual MAC address as a source. This was packets captured on port 2, which is the WAN or the internet connected interface. And was it being load balanced? So actually, since I still have that going, right? Is this being load balanced? Diag sys session filter, right? Address. Let's see. Destination address. Okay. Do the same on both. Session filter. DST. Okay. Sys session list. So this is the secondary, but it's active, right? There's nothing. That one. Okay. List. Access session list. And you see the pings here. Great. Is traffic being load balanced? Maybe not able to test this. Let's see, another section going here. Would it create another session? Also, the command to like the session pickup command, set session pickup enable, right? That's for TCP. Set, what's the command for connectionless, right? Set session, there is no connectionless. Yes, there is. All right. Is this going to keep my pings going during a failover? All right, I'm going to try another failover. So I'm going to do execute reboot, not shutdown. Okay. It's this hstat. I'm the primary, 423, all right? 423. Let's do the reboot. Execute reboot, right? Boom. Oh, and those that virtual MAC should show, right? So I'm the new virtual MAC for port 2. Gets this bar. Okay, gets this hstat. The only member in the cluster. Diag sys session list. I got all the sessions, right? Did the pings ever stop? Not that I can see. Scrolling up here. Now, I'll do this again and try to capture it quickly. Also, I want to configure a link monitor, which is a remote server that we're going to ping 4.2.2.1 fix this link monitor. All right, edit port 2.HA, set source interface port 2, server. Close. 4.2.2.2. Set HA priority 10. Next, and will that synchronize? Why not? So that link monitor, would that synchronize? That would be under show system link monitor. Did. Cool. Instant. All right. So I'm just going to copy and paste these commands into the primary. Right? Get this J stat. Yeah. Is there a paste? No. Config sysha set ping server monitor interface. Set ping server failover threshold 5. Set ping server secondary. Force reset enable. Set ping server flip timeout 30. What was that? Seconds? Yeah, 30 seconds. And let's see if that replicated. Synchronized. Yeah, ping server. Okay, so we should see the FortiGate actually sending ping though. Okay. I'm not currently pinging this from. So what is this? 165 0.1 tag IP address. See what it is? 100. That's my internet facing interface. So great. Oh yeah, also ping serve stats. So if you do get stat, you'll see this ping server, and here's the priority. What if I somehow brought that down? How would I do that? All right, I'm just gonna do the client testing again, where I do a reboot of -2 because it has a higher uptime, and then watch these pings, right? Let's get a clear screen, because this is synchronized between primary and secondary. Oh, look, I am doing that. Huh. Okay. So on the side, I'm going to do a failover. Right. -2 is the primary, right? Primary is 501. Okay. And I'm going to do the diaxis. And maybe I can have this all on one screen. Let's do it. Diaxis AJ reset uptime. Stat. Okay, you see the ping stopping. 423 is the new. Okay, so the ping stopped. I'm going to hit enter. It just stopped, huh? I am the primary. So, oh, look at that packet loss. Start a new session. That's what happens. Here's an interesting question. Which two configurations are not synchronized between primary and secondary? ARP tables should be synchronized. Let's check that. Get sys ARP, right? Oh, what do I have? Like 6 entries, right? Get sys ARP. Okay. Not exactly, but let's see. I'm saying priority and host name are not synchronized. You have to choose two. That's the correct answer. As we see here, ARP tables not really synchronized, right? Look at that. Okay. We're going to do like an out of band management interface so you can, monitor each member of the cluster with SNMP. So we're going to set a IP address on port 8 on the CLI. So config sys int edit port 8 set IP 10.0.11.254/24. It just gave me the same IP. Okay, I skipped some steps here. First, you execute HAManage, which the subsidiary unit. That's okay, right. Admin, what's it want? Does she add a password? Okay. One second here. Right. Oh, let's change set mode to active passive. Right. Still. All right. Shows this HA. All right. Okay. Set up a reserve HA interface. We're going to edit. Okay. That's in the GUI. Go to system system HA, edit, and monitor port 2. Management interface reservation, port 8, right? And then click OK. And then on the CLI of this guy, sys int edit port 8. Now you can do the overlap IP. 251, right? It's allowed here because the routing entries for the reserved HA management interface are excluded from the routing table. Let's look at that, shall we? 251, port 8. What about port 4? 254. I swear it was different. All right, 251 it is. Going back to the VM, you're going to go to that IP to manage it. 10.0.251. and 0.11.251. 0.11.251. I must have, oops, edit port 8, set allow access, ping, fix it. Yep. So we can log in. Okay, I am logged into the out of band management port, IP 11.251. Okay. Let's see what it looks on the CLI of the secondary firewall. Okay. Show sysint port 8. Show sysha on port 2. Let's get out of this. Show sysha. You do have HTML interface here. Yes, you have both. But show sysint port 8, and then there, show sysint port 8. We actually have an IP. Okay, so -2 firewall has a .252 address on port 8. Right, so shows sysint port 8, 252, 251. So if I go on the SBC, HTTPS, and 0.11.252, I have access to the GUI of the secondary firewall, admin or tenant 1. Sure. If I can get closer. And this is -2. Which is the secondary, right? Yeah. Otherwise, if you log on to the main GUI IP, you will not get access to the GUI of the secondary. So this is how you would do that and also manage it via SNMP. You can disconnect it from the cluster according to the lab, then do the revisions. I'm not going to do that. So just to recap, when must you have a dedicated management interface IP address for your secondary FortiGate and high availability? It's when you want direct access to the CLI or GUI of the secondary FortiGate device over layer 3 IP networking versus out-of-band console connectivity, right? Okay. That concludes Lab 14, Exercise 3. Thanks for sticking this long. I hope this was informative for you. I'm trying to get ready for the test and, go over the practice test and try to replicate it in this lab with, active and passive mode and active mode. I did see the virtual MAC address in that packet capture with Wireshark on port 2 during the failover. So that virtual MAC address, failed over from the primary, which was the -1 to the secondary to -2. So I know that was one of the practice questions. We looked at the checksum tables. We looked at setting up the link monitor, but didn't really get a chance to test that. It's hard to test in these lab environments with virtual machines because they're not physical. So yeah, I have like 15 minutes left, so this is all I can test for now. The heartbeat IP address is 169. IP address list the 169.254. Oh, this is the internal IP addressing for the heartbeat interfaces. So this is .02, and the highest serial number gets the .1 address. So HA stat, which is the highest serial number, it would be -2. So actually, .2 is a lower serial number, and so 501 actually gets 0.1, right? But that doesn't affect primary, secondary election. That's just the internal IP addressing. All right, thank you again. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. Thank you.